Hey everybody, and welcome into another exciting episode of the Level Playing Field podcast. Today we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about the MLB getting two pitchers shaken down by the feds for...
They should shake down a lot more, Andrew.
They should shake down a lot more.
They should.
But the feds are cracking down on them for insider trading on baseball, fixing pitches, and pushing everything together there. Greg Sankey is shouting out at the NCAA. He wants them to pull back some of their new rules for student athletes gambling in sports.
That's the Southeastern Conference's commissioner. But rather than asking them to crack down, why don't the idiot, I shouldn't call him an idiot, but why don't the dummy, let's call him a dummy, just say, hey, we're going to make and stop our athletes. Every Southeastern Conference athlete cannot gamble on professional sports. What's his problem? You can make all the statements in the world that you want to, okay? But the proof is in the pudding. You heard that, right? So, yeah, it's great. It's great that that's what they're doing. But, Andrew, look, it needs to stop, period, exclamation point, and just making a statement, it's a good start.
Well, let's jump in right there. It's actually a great thing to jump off with. So how many times have we talked about the NCAA being a rudderless ship, right? This is the opportunity for the Big Ten and the SEC to take a stand on something, right? And they're going to be 100% correct. Morally, for the first time ever, they could literally take a stand morally and say, you know what? This is just wrong. We get the paying the players. We let the cat out of the bag with that. We're doing this. We're doing that. But this is too much. The amount of goodwill, the amount of just, actual pride in their conferences they could have in their organizations, and moving forward, that would be an amazing way to lobby in the future for, hey, we don't need the NCAA to do what we want to do. Why don't we set up our own structure, our own playoff, our own sport outside of these guys because they're extremely corrupt, and let's build something together and build it correctly. Make it fair for the players. Make it fair for the coaches. Make it fair, especially for the fans, and just bring everybody together.
I would tell you this, Andrew. You're right on. But it's a ship that is sinking fast. Okay, up in State College is the epicenter. Really, you got a football program that is falling apart. You got a hockey team that was in the Frozen Four last year, falling apart. NIL. They're transferring in all these guys off the wire for the hockey team, and they're falling apart. The volleyball team was always in the top 2 or 3 in the country. They're number 20 now, right? And let's talk about wrestling. Wrestling's in the air right now. They had a heavyweight up in State College, stud, national champ 3 years ago, right? Wrestles in the world championships. He didn't make any money the year he was a national champ, but they give the guy a bunch of money. No one knows how much. I heard it was $1 million, right? So they give him $1 million, and guess what? He placed 3rd or 4th last year at the NCAA championships. I mean, what is money doing up in State College? We're in Pennsylvania. Andrew and I are in Pennsylvania. He's a Penn State grad. I'm a Pitt grad. You understand? And Pitt's the same thing. Pitt's got a $1.7 million quarterback sitting on the bench. He's not even playing. They got 12 girls from foreign countries playing on their soccer team. I mean, it has gone mad. It has gone mad in Pennsylvania, and the money isn't working. It's not doing anything but hurting the coaches. It's hurting the athletic departments. I mean, you hear people saying all the time, I don't even want to watch it anymore. The guys are making $1 million. It's not. Look, I talked to my wife about this today. It's losing its sacredness. It's losing its pureness. It's losing its godliness. And now you throw on gambling on top of it all. There's ads all over the place. I heard from a very, very legitimate source. This is before the NCAA legalized that college athletes could bet on professional sports. There's a football player in the state of Pennsylvania lost $200,000. $200,000, Andrew. A college kid lost $200,000 gambling on sports, and not just professional sports. I don't know what he was or wasn't gambling on, but he was, and the kid's in total depression. He's lost all of his soundness, and he came to play football. He came to play football, and now here he is. He's mush. He's falling apart. The kid. Do you understand? So the point of the matter in our state today, the proof is in the pudding. You understand? NIL money, paying kids to compete, is hurting them, just like we've been talking about for a long time, Andrew. You and I touched on this last year when we done a podcast with the USA Citizens Network. We strongly recommended that they stop paying these athletes. Okay, now here we are. It's only getting worse. The commissioner of the SEC, the Big Ten, the Pitt football people, gambling's wrong. They shouldn't be doing it. It's no different than drugs and alcohol, like any other vice, right? But what do they actually do, Andrew? They do nothing. It's all lip service. You understand? So who are we calling out to? We're calling out to those 700,000 Penn State alumni, huge alumni up there. What was the number you said? 300,000 paying membership. Tell the viewers about you're one of them. Tell them about the whole Penn State alumni situation.
Yeah, no, Penn State alumni, largest dues-paying alumni network in the entire world. That's the thing. If you want to make a difference, all you got to do. We've talked about this before. Your eyeballs and your wallet. Things change real quick when those donations stop rolling in, and like you said about like losing. Kid wins a national title next year, places third. Not that obviously things happen. Competitive sport, someone else can get beat.
Listen. He should have gotten better. He wrestled in the world championships. He's got that much more experience. It shouldn't even be Andrew. Do you understand?
Well, that's my point. That's my point. It's like one thing's one thing. Like anyone can lose on it's any given Sunday, right? Anyone can lose any day you have an off day. But these things, they keep adding up. And it's one sport after another. And you see it. I mean, we're in Pennsylvania, so obviously we got our eyes closely fixated on like Penn State, Pitt, and that. But like this is happening all around the country.
Let's shift down to LSU. Yeah. Right? I mean,
falling apart at the seams.
I mean, look, it goes from dumb to dumber. The head coach, Kelly, they paid him $10 million. They wrote him and the Penn State coach out. They wrote him out close to $100 million in checks. So the Penn State alumni just donated $50 million, close to $50 million, and so did LSU to two dorky coaches that never played at a high level in their lives. And who's paying for it? LSU's got like 200-300. They're a huge alumni. They got all kind of money. They're putting it out. But how about the two coaches? Let's talk about that. Since we're on the football, we're gonna shift
LSU. LSU's involving the governor down there. They're bringing in the big guns.
Listen. You talk about dumb and dumber. So let's talk about LSU since we're on the subject. So the head coach was dumb. The assistant coach is dumber. They're in a game with Alabama, right? Alabama is like Ohio State. Okay, there's very few schools out there that have won national championships, decades and decades and decades, right? So those two are like down south Alabama, right? Up north Ohio State. So LSU's playing Alabama. They're in the game. They lost their head coach. They're in an uproar. Things are rough. But they got this studly quarterback. I like the kid. He's got guts, right? And in the second half, they're in the game, and the LSU head coach, you talk about dumb and dumber, takes the starting quarterback out of the game and puts in a guy. And look, the kid seemed like he was okay. But do you know who you're putting him in against? You don't start a guy in a game halfway through playing Alabama. Like, hello. Like, how you talk about dumb and dumber? Okay, so the LSU powers that be didn't only hire an idiot in Kelly, a crook in Kelly, a backstabber in Kelly. His assistant coach is just as bad. What is he doing? What in God's name is he doing, Andrew? Think about that. Not only did he kill the team, he killed the kid that he put in the game. Like, how are you going to put a kid in blind against one of the top schools in the country and expect him to do anything? You hear what I'm saying to you? So what he did, you know, when there's a fire going, he threw gasoline. He threw gasoline in the fire. Now let's shift up to Penn State. I know you had said you were with your father-in-law out in Chicago, who went to Indiana, so he's smiling right now.
We had a great family event on Saturday. It was
so
wonderful.
You're a Penn State guy. Your father-in-law's an Indiana guy. But what I'm saying to you is he was happy. He was happy that this idiot up in State College. You talk about dumb and dumber, right? So Penn State the same. They're beating the number 2 team in the country with 2 minutes left in the game by 4 points. They're winning by, right? So they're punting the ball. Now, a high school coach knows this. Send your speedsters down to the goal line and have them wait for the ball, right? Yep. So what do? The guy from Indiana fakes a fair catch, like up on the 20-20. They stop running. The ball runs into the end zone, and Indiana gets the ball on the 25. You know, rather than on the 5-yard line. That 20 yards would have been the difference in Penn State winning the game or not winning the game.
That's it right there.
But here's the thing now. But here's the thing with that, Andrew, right? A high school coach knows that. A high school coach knows that, right? But here's the proof that the Penn State kids are badass kids. They're tough kids. They can play at that level, right? With their backup quarterback, really their third team quarterback, because the kid from Missouri should be playing at Penn State right now, right? Yep. If he was there, it would be a different story, right? They're playing with their third team quarterback, and God only knows they're only playing for pride now. And they have the second-ranked team in the country on the ropes, ready to win the game, and this idiot assistant coach, right, blows the game for him. He blows the game for him, and here's my point about Penn State hirings, right? So they hired this other guy. I mean, the guy's a crumb. He coached there. What was his name again? What was his name? He's at Boston College right now. What was his name?
O'Brien.
O'Brien. So O'Brien was a bust out. A couple of my buddies coached for him down when he was in professional. He said he's a loser. Just a bad attitude, filthy cursing. I mean, just a corrupt guy. Boston College hires the guy, and he won 1 game this year. So the coaching selection up in State College has been terrible. Okay, that athletic director and that president. I know you mentioned to me they're new, but listen, you know they hired losers. O'Brien was a loser, and the current coach, you know, for him to announce, "Oh, I'm ready to coach again," after robbing Penn State for $50 million. I mean, give me a break. Give another guy a break. You know, so the point of the matter is when they hire LSU also should fire their athletic director and the president of their school for doing that $10 million deal, giving them $50 million of the alumni money, for God's sake. When they can't even I mean, it's like their coaching decisions are senseless. High school coaches know to send the guy to sit on the goal line to catch the ball so it don't roll into the end zone. And high school coaches don't put a backup quarterback in against one of the best teams in the country, Alabama, and take the momentum out of the game from a starting quarterback who's fighting to beat Alabama. You understand? So in their decision making, getting back to gambling, right? Oh, okay, we're against it. No, my ass. Pardon my language. Our guys, we're going to ban it. No Southeastern
Well,
Conference, no Big Ten, no Big 12,
mhm,
no ACC. No, we're against it. They're not going to be able to
mhm.
gamble on professional sports.
Well,
Why?
also
Why?
let's flip it around real quick while we're on the Penn State Indiana game. Let's flip that around real quick and look at it from Indiana's perspective. Indiana, dumpster fire of a program for 40 years, right? They haven't won 10 games ever. I think this is the first time. Maybe they won 10 games last year, but before that, never happened.
Well, let me just give Pitt. Let me give a Pitt that a boy. He's a Pitt guy. That's where he.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah.
he got his coaching experience, and he's from Pittsburgh. So he was a grad assistant when I was at the University of Pittsburgh. But
Mhm.
I want to do an attaboy. But go ahead. You know?
So now let's look at it from that perspective because he has turned Indiana around in 2 years. And there's no normally a program they have, they're at the bottom of the heap. You get a good coach in, you kind of get that 6 win, you get to a bowl game. The bowl game turns into maybe a New Year's Six. You take a step back forward, you're at the top of the conference. Indiana went from the dumpster, bottom of the barrel, to the top of the heap in 2 seasons. Why? Because he's a winner. Cignetti's a winner. And just to your point, Penn State, Pitt, LSU, that's who they need. If you want to be these programs, you want to be at the top. I was looking on my phone today. I got an update saying, shake up in the top 25. And I looked at it and I was like, I have no interest in that because Penn State's not in it. And I'm like, that's so weird. It's been years since Penn State's not in the top 25. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, we're not winners. This isn't a winning program anymore. And it can shift so quickly, but it can shift the other way even faster. You can fall into obscurity just like that.
Listen, all the almighty dollar. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
The Penn State.
Well, it's focusing. That's my point. It's focusing on the wrong things, right? And that's kind of how we can twist it here. You're focused on the wrong things. You start bringing in kids from the transfer portal and I'm not saying it's different now in college football. It's a whole different thing. You gotta play the game. I understand that, but you got to bring in the right pieces. Just like in the NFL, you cannot build a team fully off of transfers and free agents. Now, Cignetti, he brought in a lot of kids, but they were all from James Madison. 90% of them were from James Madison, who he coached. He knew who they were. He knew who those kids were. So he already had that relationship with them. He's like, this is my culture that I'm bringing. He brought that culture, that winning culture, to Indiana. So it's crazy. It's a wild world we're living in right now with all these programs up, down, and left, right.
I would tell you, Andrew, it all comes down to the almighty dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you corrupt and you defile, that's the word I was looking for. Defile. Mm-hmm. When you defile these athletes and you defile the sport with the almighty dollar, this is what you get. Let Penn State and let LSU be a prime example of what I'm talking about. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. They need to go back to the basics. And I disagree with you on that whole paying kids, the transfer portal, and the like. Look, the best and most noble thing that a young athlete can do is to represent their state that they're in. Mm-hmm. Play for a team in your state, okay? Mm-hmm. And that has been the traditional role of most of the universities, okay? And Penn State, more than any school, has had so many studs go up there and play football. Pitt, oh my word, we have so many guys that were studs from Pennsylvania, from Erie, from Pittsburgh, from Newtown Square, from Allentown. You name the communities, same as Penn State. So many, Whitehall, Pennsylvania, 2 studs. You had 3. I mean, guys, the kid that's playing for the Eagles right now and Matt Millen both went up to State College. Man, tremendous careers. You understand? Mm-hmm. So that whole traditional structure that has been built in to colleges is being defiled by this NIL, paying these coaches exorbitant amounts of money, and this transfer portal. Look, look, the state college, in-state college, their football coach brought in 3 wide receivers from 3 different schools. Rather than come in, some stud from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, the kid's a star in the NFL. He was a star up at state college. But they took opportunities away from the kids. You bring in 3 strangers that are all out looking for themselves, looking to be Joe next first round draft pick. Now they're mercenaries. They're using Penn State as a stepping stone for them. You understand?
Yep.
And then they don't get the ball. Oh, they're complaining. Oh, I want the ball more. I want to be. No. You get the kids that are part of Pennsylvania at Pitt, at Temple, at Penn State, and you build off of that like they have for the last 40, 50 years. Pitt, 100 years. Pitt's been doing it for a long time. Pennsylvania kids. Penn State recent years, the last 30, 40 years, they're getting all the studs. They built a great program. And remember what we talked about. For LSU to think that they're going to take over Alabama overnight because they gave some coach $10 million or they're paying some kids, it ain't going to happen. Same thing, they think they're going to take over Ohio State by paying a coach and paying the kids. Look, the proof is in the pudding, man. They are LSU, and PSU, they have destroyed what the great athletes of the past have built in state college and in Pittsburgh, and they need to go back because it wasn't broken, right? A $2 million quarterback sitting on the bench, that's the alumni money. That's the athletic program money. Do you understand? Sitting on the bench at the University of Pittsburgh. They got some young kid from Pennsylvania, right, who they didn't want to give a scholarship to. No one recruited. He won 4 straight. He won a bunch of games straight. He's doing well. He's just a freshman because he's playing with his heart. He's playing with his heart. And that is what college athletics is all about. So getting to those 750,000 alumni in state college, to the alumni at Pitt, the alumni at LSU, Florida, the legendary Tim Tebow University, and getting into Tim Tebow, we had this NFL kid kill himself. We had a beautiful 24-year-old kid kill himself. Okay, so I scratched my head, Andrew. I've been praying about it all weekend on Sunday.
Very, very sad. Very sad.
So sad. I'm saying, man, this poor kid. What in God's name? What could be on his mind? So mental illness. I said to myself, so I got done with doing my stuff that I do. Went to church and went out and done some chores here on the farm and sort of just got fresh here. I don't watch TV. The only reason I'm watching TV these days is I watch sports once or twice a week for a half an hour, and I pray about what's going on, and I'm able to pick up things pretty quickly. But here's what bothered me on Sunday, Andrew. I'm hearing about this Major League Baseball pitching scandal, which we know is going on. The NBA with all of their spinoffs and corruption and gambling, and now college kids gambling. I find out a college football player lost $200,000, and I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here, Lord? What's going on, Lord? And then I'm sitting down. It's like 5, 6 o'clock. I'm sitting down. I turn the TV on just to see, because I know we're going to do this show this week, and I'm watching college girls volleyball, right? I'm watching college soccer, women's soccer, men's soccer, a bunch of foreign names, France, Canada, Africa, Asia. I'm watching women's golf. I just watch it. My wife says, what are you watching it for? I'm like, well, Laurie, I do this show with Andrew, and I want to get a feel for what's going on in the country. So all these young athletes on a Sunday, Andrew, on a Sunday. Now I think back, I say, we didn't have these problems when I was at the University of Pittsburgh. I said, we didn't practice on Sundays. We'd come in and just watch film after church, right? Now we got thousands of athletes competing from Washington. Washington was playing a team in field hockey. One of the sports. Every sport was on. You can watch every college sport with college kids competing. Rather they go to church. And if they don't go to church, just to have some downtime, right? Just to rest their bodies and rest their minds from the busy academics and athletics, right? To have any type of opportunity for them to rest. Look, we live in a Christian nation. America is a Christian country, right? And our ancestors, no matter what country you came from, the large majority of them were Christians, right? Mm-hmm. From England to Germany to Ireland to Scotland to Italy to Poland, Russia, Syria, Lebanon, Greece, you name them, they were mostly all Christians. You understand? South America, Christians. So everyone that has come here to this country have a Christian background. So the teaching was go to church on Sunday, rest, make that your day of rest. And it wasn't 30, 40 years ago, we had a blue law where the restaurants, the malls, everything shut down on Sundays, right? Now you turn on the TV, I'm watching multiple colleges, different sports, just going crazy, flying all over the country, and we wonder why there's mental illness, Andrew. Duh. Hello, you Southeastern Conference and you Big Ten people and you ACC people, you in the NFL, you want to solve mental illness, take a day off. Let the guys take a day off. Let them go to church. Let them read the Bible. Let them fellowship. Let them sit with their family and their friends and enjoy each other's company, for God's sake. That's where the mental health is coming from. That's where the suicides are coming from. And guess what? Pointing your finger and saying, it's because of this or it's because of that. No, it's because of yous. It's because of yous. College athletics need to stop on Sundays. The kids need to rest. They need to rest, right? They need a day of downtime. That's what they need. They don't need to be flying all over the country, doing this and doing that and competing for this or competing for that. They need to catch themselves. They need to get their wind. They need to feel as though they're loved and that they're not just a number. And paying them, that's the cherry on top. They need to stop paying them, Andrew. They need to stop paying them.
That's it. And it's not going to happen. That's not even close to where we're at as a society. No one's stopping. No one's slowing down. Everything's more content, more. You have to be on at all times. And I remember saying this when the Big Ten brought in those teams.
Why is it? It's TV money. It's all TV.
Yeah, you know why. Yeah. So, so I said this when the Big Ten brought in those West Coast teams. I was like, well, that's great. I mean, that's cool. Like Penn State, I love watching Penn State USC in the Rose Bowl at the end on January 1st. That's awesome. But that's fine for a football team, maybe. I mean, it's still a cross-country flight. It's still ridiculous flying from Pennsylvania to Oregon, Pennsylvania to Southern California. That's a ridiculous flight for kids that have to go to Econ 101 on a Tuesday. You're not going to class anymore. But even more than that,
so they're losing their value of their education because they're
losing the value of the education. But not only that, let's forget about football. They play one game. What happens in a basketball or not basketball? What happens in baseball or any of these games, or any of these sports that play series or have multiple games a week? Are you in the NBA? You do a West Coast trip. You fly from LA to San Fran to Portland to Vegas to Salt Lake City. You knock them all out and you come back home. They go out for a week. They knock out 5 games. You come back home. That's fine. They're professionals. They're being compensated for it. They have the best of everything. That's the way it is. But these kids are going to class. They're not going to class. How can they go to class? They're on the other side of the country. How can a baseball team go out, play 4 games in Los Angeles, and the kids got midterms this week? How is that possible? I understand kids are doing the classes online and everything, but it pulls out that whole fundamental concept of being part of a college, having the college experience. You're no longer a part of the student population. You are your own entity that is off flying on private jets and all of that, and you are having a completely different experience than the run-of-the-mill college athlete or college student. So it's just crazy. And like we're saying, it's never going to stop.
Which is a big loss for the college.
It's a massive loss. So what happens?
For the college.
We've said this before, but what happens in those 4 years of you being in college? You have a tremendous amount of growth and development, right? that's the NCAA commercial. It's not all of us are most of us are going pro in something other than sports.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when all those kids who don't go pro now go off into the workforce and they've got, basically like a participation trophy degree? That doesn't, like, they're fine, right? They made money in school, right? Hopefully enough to like put it, hopefully they were smart with it and didn't gamble it away, but hopefully they put it in the bank and put it into investment and they can kind of live off of that.
Which is a joke. You know that, man. Guys, maybe the guys that are on college campuses with the shit, with the garbage that the NCAA is passing. And listen, they basically need to be disbanded. The NCAA, I'm going to tell you, we're reaching out to congressmen, senators. These shows going down to some of Trump's guys, and I don't care if they're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. Both Andrew and I are independent. It's wrong.
This is a bipartisan issue.
Yeah, man.
This is a bipartisan issue because now, to my point, what's going to happen is these kids, these highly productive student athletes that are like, these are the people who, when I was in school, when you were in school, they had so much on their plate. They have to go to practice. You got to go to class. You got to pass the test. You got to. Now you're not going to class. Now you're on your laptop doing all this stuff. So what happens when those kids go into the workforce? Not everyone gets a 10-year NFL career. So when that happens,
they got an inferior education too.
Exactly. So what happens? That hurts the society. That hurts the workforce. That hurts everything. These people who 9 times out of 10 go into the workforce and are pillars in the community because they have such great, withstanding, and they're able to push themselves physically, mentally, emotionally through all these like challenges. Now they don't have that. They don't have that same rigor that you get in your 4 years, 5 years of development when you're in college. And that's a real thing that we're going to see over the next 20 years as a society. This is a small microcosm of what's happening, around our whole country right now. But it's the truth. It really is. And we don't have to. We can say it's going to happen in 20 years because it is. But we can look at right now. It's going on right now, and it's like it feels like every single week there's a new scandal that's dropping. So we got the MLB guys. These guys they're going back to the prop bets. With these prop bets, these guys are texting their buddies or people they're in cahoots with. They're texting them mid-game in some cases, saying, "All right,
who told you? Who told you this? Who told you this is what was going on? They have their runners, their boys."
My brilliant co-host.
I mean, look, it's old news, man. It's old news. But go ahead.
It's old news. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. It's the same story over and over again, but it's so relevant because it's literally happening.
On top of it, maybe the feds are watching our show, which we hope they are.
I don't know.
What we want them to do, and I'm not going to disclose the kid who lost the $200K. So I better watch how I'm talking. I might have them all knocking at my door. But listen. The thing is this, Andrew. It all comes down to being traditional. My wife, my family, your wife, your family, everyone's wives, everybody's families, their friends. We want to keep the traditional ways of college athletics and amateur athletics in America, especially in the state of Pennsylvania, especially up at State College. That's the epicenter. That is the largest alumni and in my opinion, the greatest state in the country for athletics is the state of Pennsylvania. And I'm a little biased, okay? I'm a little biased. All my sons and daughters competed here in Pennsylvania. Great competitions. I don't care if it's baseball up to volleyball and everything in between. I had daughters that were gymnasts and rowers, and I mean sons that played, done track and field and just awesome sports, football and wrestling, baseball, just all great stuff in the state. And what we see going on today, we have the largest alumni in the world. The largest alumni in the world have to make some noise, okay? And they need to call their athletic director, their university, just like Andrew instructed you a month ago. He said, and I said, stop sending them money and tell them why. When they call you,
and that's it.
stop sending them money and tell them why. Now, the University of Florida, they're struggling too, and they have a huge alumni, and they have this legendary, greatest athlete ever, in my opinion, to ever come out of college was Tim Tebow, right? So let's go back to the Sundays. Let's go back to the Sundays just real fast and cover this. So they got this guy who loves Jesus, okay, and has this huge fan base at every university. Everybody loves Tim Tebow. What does the NCAA do? They made him stop putting scriptures on his face, right? And on his little towel. And so they wanted to destroy his ability. They passed laws to stop Tim Tebow from sharing scriptures with his fans. All right, so he goes to the NFL. His first rookie year, they make the playoffs by accident, and everybody knows it's the Holy Spirit. But what do? They get rid of him. They ship him over to a Jewish-owned football team, the New York Jets. And what do? They devalue him. They say, "Oh, he don't really got it." Then he gets cut, and what do? They ship him to another Jewish-owned team, the Philadelphia Eagles. And what do? They dismantle him. To think that Tim Tebow couldn't beat a third-team quarterback, a third-team quarterback in the NFL is a joke. He's just as good as Doug Flutie or any of those other throwbacks, like this guy who's playing who's a quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had to just develop and make the team adjust to him. But what do they want? No, they didn't want him talking about Jesus in the NFL. So the point I'm making here, Andrew, is that the NCAA is so antichrist. The professional franchise are so antichrist that they are ruining. They are ruining, and the NCAA are ruining the traditional value of athletics. Okay, athletics together, everyone accomplishes more. Athletics, people would say the Lord's Prayer or pray together before and after the games, right? It doesn't exist anymore, Andrew. It doesn't exist. And what we see a crisis in mental health and suicide. And look, and we see a gambling epidemic. I mean, give me a break. It doesn't look. People at universities, people at the NCAA. You're supposed to be smart, right? You're supposed to be academic. You're supposed to be able to figure out formulas as to what's the problem, right? So there's a major epidemic going on right now in America, okay, that can be fixed through the power of prayer, through the power of togetherness, bringing back the teams, and just going back to the traditional established ways that universities ran their football programs, mostly trying to stay local, with local state by state, let the guys down south play for the southern teams, let the guys up north play for the northern teams, Pennsylvania kids stay in Pennsylvania, and the like. Do you understand? And that is what I pray and hope that this show does for our Pennsylvania kids. And the proof is in the pudding. Just look at the kid at Pitt right now. He's a freshman from on the Ohio and Pennsylvania borderline, Andrew, right? He's a freshman. The quarterback that they brought up from Louisiana, $1.7 million they paid him. He's a bust out. The kid's sitting on the bench, and there's some young freshmen who ain't making a penny. God bless him. He ain't making a penny. God bless him. And I hope they beat Notre Dame this week. But what I would tell you is that is college football. That's what college football is about. Do you understand? And if you just look up the state college, Andrew, and if you just look up the state college, we took the examples of what's going on there. These studly Pennsylvania guys, they all got together. Forget about the coach. The coaches stink. They just played the number 2 team in the country down to the wire. So what does that say for those kids, Andrew? We got studs in Pennsylvania. We got great kids in Pennsylvania. We gotta just go back to the basics. We gotta stop paying them, and we gotta stop giving coaches tens of millions of dollars to do nothing. Penn State's got to hire a great coach. I know him, Pusha Monchek. He's from Scranton. He's a great guy. I know him personally. He married a local girl here from Lehigh County. We mentioned this on one of our other shows. Offensive line coaches. You got Andy Reid, played at BYU. We played against him. I didn't. I was just a freshman that year. But Steve Young was the quarterback. You understand? For BYU, he was an offensive lineman. You go out to Iowa. The most winningest coach in the Big Ten, Kirk Ferentz, was an offensive line coach at Pitt. Recruited me. He was an offensive line coach at Iowa. Offensive lineman, coached in the NFL. Look at it. He's doing a great job at Iowa. So if they want, I really like offensive linemen. I'm going to strongly recommend him. And at LSU, I'm going to tell you, go ask Bart Argeron to forgive yous and get him back in Baton Rouge. And as far as Florida is concerned, look, man, Tim Tebow, I think he's coaching age now, man. Go get Tim Tebow and bring him back. Bring him back. You want to get excited down in Florida? You bring Tim Tebow back to the coaching world, and I got news for you. And I'm sure he's not looking for $7 million. He made plenty in his NFL days, but he will be or someone like him. Get your alumni back coaching. You understand? Get the people back that care about your university, not about the almighty dollar. Get the kids in your state that care about the university and are brought up thinking, oh, Penn State, oh, Pitt, LSU, oh, Florida, man, I'm gonna fight. I want to be a Florida Gator. I want to be an LSU Tiger. I want to be a Penn State Nittany Lion, and I want to be a Pitt. But I would tell you, all those Panthers, they're not roaring right now, and the LSU Tiger Mike, he ain't roaring much either, because of the presidents and the athletic directors that are doing a bad job. So I would tell you, Andrew, it's so important that the alumni get out there and voice your opinions and stop giving them money and stop watching the garbage. And more importantly, get with your congressmen and senators. Andrew and I, they're watching our show. I think they are. They tell me they are, but they're not doing anything. And they're so right now with all the chaos that's going on, the Democrats and the Republicans, they're not solving any problems but creating more. And it's shameful. They got to look out for our American athletes. They got to look out for our universities, and that has got to be their main priority. Let's get, and I'm watching on Sunday, Andrew. I was watching this Sunday, and I love kids. I mean, I pray for all the kids, but to see all these foreigners from all these foreign countries running around and competing at these universities, it just makes me sick. It really upsets me because I know in this state of Pennsylvania, the greatest state overall for athletics, we have so many studs. Women volleyball players, soccer players, lacrosse, hockey, women's, gymnastics. We got football players and basketball players. You name them, we have them. But just on that note with the NBA, I just wanted to go over that with you with the NBA and their chaos with their gambling. And the start of the college basketball season, we have the same problem in basketball. It's not just in football. I know for a fact that there's athletes not coming out for the second half and faking injuries in Division I basketball as we speak. And I don't know, the coaches are covering it up and the like. So it's really chaotic in the basketball world, and the NBA is an example of it. So there needs to be more oversight into this tragic issue of gambling that needs to be straightened out because I would tell you it's really shameful that this is what's going on. And again, the reason why NIL exists in college basketball, Andrew, is because there's not enough NBA basketball teams. We covered this with the NFL earlier. I mean, there's only 20 states or 22 states that have NBA teams. Why isn't there every state have an NBA team? If they had that, and I think the fans all agree with us on this argument that we make. If they had an NBA team in every state, it's only going to help the NBA. more people are going to be interested, more people are going to go to the games, and then there's opportunities for all these studly athletes, these studly basketball players that they got, these studly football players. Then you don't have to. Let them just go play in the NFL. Let them go play in the NBA, and let the guys. Let's keep the college athletics pure. Do you understand? So, in my opinion, I think the NFL and the NBA are very, very much, their greed is to blame for the NIL. In my opinion, you understand that if every state had an NFL team and every state had a basketball team, we wouldn't have this issue of NIL. The guys can go make money. That stud Barkley, right, from Whitehall. He left his senior year. He went to the Giants, I think, and made a boatload of money. God bless him. That's a decision that he made. But here's the kicker there, Andrew. Here's the kicker. With them having that many more teams, the NBA and the NFL, they want to protect their franchise rights, that they have this value. Well, just make them state-owned, like we talked about. Like the Green Bay Packers, like the Cleveland Browns, just make them state-owned. They can't sell the teams. So you still got your value, but they're so greedy they can't think past their noses. And look, the guys are playing so long. I heard Aaron Rodgers is like in his 300th game. He played in his like
how old is he? He's got to be 40 plus. He's got to be in his
but the guys, listen, in fairness to the basketball players and the football players, the guys are making so much money, and the football has become so much softer. They protect the quarterbacks. The guys are playing that much longer, so there's that much less opportunity. Andrew,
yeah, he's 41 years old.
So, and the NBA guys are all older guys. Those NBA guys. But what I'm saying to you is it really fair to the athletes? Is it fair to them that they're having all these stupid rule changes and the guys are playing so much longer and there's only so much a short amount of teams? And for the women, if they got all these, they got 30 plus NBA teams, but they only got like 10 WNBA teams. No. Have 30. Look, have 30 WNBA teams. Let the women play basketball too. You understand? It's not just a man's sport; it's a women's sport too. Be fair with them. A lot of the fans enjoy watching women play basketball.
But you know they won't do that because it'll cut into their profit margin. They won't add more teams at any rate. Men's, women's, it'll cut into their profit margin, so they don't want to do it. And that's the end of the discussion right there.
All greed and their monopolies, and it's been proven. There's an antitrust suit against the NFL, which was won by the current president of the United States. But the point of the matter is, no one has the guts. These governors, right? These senators, these congressmen, they bow down to the almighty NFL and the almighty NBA and the almighty dollar. Look. But here's what we're going to end with. And here's who. Let me tell you who's ultimately to blame. Right? Andrew told you on one of our earlier shows. It's all about your eyes. Right? It's all about your eyes not watching. Right? It's all about your alumni not supporting. Do you understand? They totally abuse the fans and they totally abuse the alumni of these universities, and they totally take advantage of them, knowing what they know, that we're going to support our favorite university or we're going to support our favorite professional team, and they keep draining us financially, right? Everybody digs into their pocket and go, yeah, okay. No, the answer is no, okay? No, that's the answer. Stop gambling. Stop the gambling. It's killing our kids. Stop playing on Sundays, okay? Our kids need a rest. Do you understand? No, don't pay a coach $10 million, right? Look, stop the gambling. Stop the gambling. We don't want to see the advertising on television anymore. Do you understand? They got to go and talk to the powers that be. So ultimately, we, the fans, I don't watch it. I watch a half an hour a week, believe it or not. And I'm Holy Spirit driven, and I get all these ideas. Me and Andrew, we talk. Andrew updates me on what's going on, and I interpret it because I do read the Bible and I do pray and I do go to church. Do you understand? And that's what I'm going to encourage all of you to do. Rather than this Sunday, watching that all that garbage that's on, right? Watching all that garbage that's on, and all those kids running around playing college sports on the ACC network and the Big Ten network and the SEC network. It's wrong. It's wrong. Speak out to your universities. When they call you, no, I'm not giving any money. I'm not giving any money. Tell them why. Tell them why. You want change. Do you understand? You want change. Just like Andrew said. And then don't watch them, especially on a Sunday. Take the day off, hang out, go fishing, go for a walk, go garden. But most importantly, go to church. Go to church and pray for our country. Pray for our kids. We have a crisis right now, and the only people that can stop it are we the people. So go and do it. Go and do
Absolutely.
it. Go and do it, you folks, especially up in State College. You guys are big time up there. The largest. I didn't know this. Andrew told me this today. I'm so proud he is that you're the largest alumni in the world here in Pennsylvania. That is awesome. But look, the proof is in the pudding. And you right here in Pennsylvania, last year's national champ, 3 years ago, national champ, he didn't make a penny. He won a national championship. 2 years ago, they gave him like $1 million, right? He took third. Now, out in Pittsburgh, there's a guy sitting on the bench from Louisiana, Holstein, made $1.7 million. He's sitting on the bench, couldn't win a game. And there's a freshman from Pennsylvania, right? Won 4 games straight for the University of Pittsburgh, God bless him. So the proof's in the pudding. It's right there, Andrew. It's right there in front of us. Here in Pennsylvania especially, let's be the voice. Let's be the powerhouse. Let's straighten it out. Get with both of the senators. Get with all of the congressmen. Get with this governor. He's an idiot. This governor. I hate to say that, but man, he just legalized. Listen, they said it was we hunt. Me and my son. Andrew's a hunter. He's going to come up to my farm and hopefully shoot a nice buck this year. But what do they call it when both parties agree? What do they call that again? I'm just having a brain
compromise.
No, they call it what the heck they call it? It's bipartisan.
Oh yeah, bipartisan. Yeah.
So this is the great move by the dummy Republicans and dummy Democrats in the state of Pennsylvania. They said they came up with a bipartisan agreement to legalize to open hunting on a Sunday. Oh, and they're all cheering it. They're cheering it on. They're like, "Oh, we work together." They can't pass a budget, right? They can't do anything good for the poor people or for anybody. They can't bring tax relief, but they do a bipartisan agreeing that hunting's going to be legal on Sundays, Andrew. Oh, okay. So during COVID, they shut the churches down on Sunday, right? It's so hard for the churches that 25% of them got shut down. I'm getting back to the governor and athletics. I'm going off on a little tangent, but I wanted to share this to end the show. So getting back to God. So what they decide to do is legalize hunting on a Sunday. Okay. So now the guy's gonna run out and hunt in the morning rather than going to church. He's gonna come home and watch the football all day, bet on his phone, and then they're gonna be out in the country where I live, and other conservative Christians, the Amish, the Mennonite, the Quakers, the Mormon. I mean over in Bethlehem. Oh boy, I'm having a
Moravians.
The Moravians. They're not Mormons, the Moravians. I apologize. The Moravians. Everyone's, we don't want hunting on a Sunday. People want to go to church on a Sunday. We don't want a bunch of bullets going off all over the countryside on a Sunday. So that was their big bipartisan. Yeah, we passed hunting, made hunting legal. It's a great sport too, by the way. I mean, I think everybody should hunt. Getting back to Sundays, right? So keep Sunday your holy day, man. Go to church, man. Enjoy yourselves. Spend time with your family. Let's shut the athletics down and let's go back to good old fashioned athletics and good old fashioned America. and good old fashioned church on Sundays, man. So
Absolutely.
that would be my recommendation for all of us, and a lot of prayer. Pray a lot for these young
Absolutely.
kids. Pray for your grandchildren, your granddaughters, your sons, your daughters, your sisters, your brothers, because we want back the American traditional amateur athletics at our universities like now. We want it back, especially in Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. That was a great show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, remember to subscribe to us on Spotify, YouTube. You can check us out on all the social media channels. And hope you all have a great day. All right. Bye.